So welcome back to the channel. Here we are, we're 40 kilometres or so offshore today. We've come out to the Barwon Banks. We came out of the Mooloolaba River, quite a haul out. Took us a little while to get here and thought we'd never get here actually. 40 kilometres on a ski and, you know, the sea. Pretty smooth conditions when we started, but now we've got out here, it's about 10 to 15 and that's what was predicted. It's not going to get any stronger, it's probably going to drop off later on. We had a little bit of trouble getting live bait earlier. There's a lot of sardines around, but nothing in the yakka sort of area or nothing like the mackerel, but there was a lot of sardines and they just wouldn't hop on our sabiki jigs. But dropped a jig down here out at the Barwon Banks and on a little lump that I saw a bit of bait hanging, and I managed to catch quite a large bonito, actually about, 30 centimetre bonito. And I've put that down and straight away I've hooked up. So I'll roll that tape for you in a minute and you can have a look at that. But so the plan, I've already got a nice fish in the bag, which you'll see in a minute. But what I might do is do a bit of jigging, because what I caught is the sort of fish that you'd normally catch on a jig. So yeah, good signs that the fish are biting already. Anyway, I guess I'll keep fishing and hope to stick around and watch the whole video. Oh yes! Yep. Oh yes! Oh yes! Oh yes! Oh, far out. This is a big one. Oh, I know what this is. That's one of the biggest fish I've found for a while. Maybe a cobia, because I put a very big bait out. Whatever it is, it's big. Very big. Very big. Ah! Come up. Doesn't feel like a shark either. Big Jewy, I think. Yeah, I can see something big. It's a Jew. Oh, it's a big amberjack. Oh, yes. Whoa, nice. Can you believe that? First drop. Woohoo! That's a good grip. There we go. First drop of the day, and I have a nice amberjack to show for it. Whoa! Pay that. left over here. This spot here. Oh, it's just got a bit of weight in it. There's another amberjack, maybe. Maybe. On a jig this time. Oh, it's got a bit of weight. Feels a bit tuna-ish. Might be a bonito again. If it's a bonito, I'll have it for bait. Yeah, it feels a bit tuna-ish. Little tail beat. Look at it. Oh. Bring it up quickly, I might be able to use it for live bait if it's a tuna. Yes. Oh, it's got a size. It's a bonito for Americans. We call them mac tunas. Which we don't eat over here. I don't think you eat them in the US either. But they're a prolific fish here in summer. Probably all times of the year actually. And good sports fish, but not great on the table, so we'll be throwing them back. Just a little bit too big for live bait for me. But anyway, throw him back. There he is, little light off him, little bonito. Well, bonito's to America, mac tuna to us. He's gone. So hopefully there's not too many of them around because they could be a pain in the arse. So I might move back. Yeah, so I've been at it for about, I don't know, 3 hours now. 3 hours since I caught the amberjack. And had another small amberjack come up to the top, but I lost it in the boat. Trying to catch some snapper here, but we're sort of seeing signs of them, but I'm not being able to catch them in anything at the moment. They're either not biting or I've got the wrong lures on. So the plan, I guess, for now is to just stick around for a while, be persistent. I think there's we're getting towards the bottom of the tide soon too, so we're getting that really sweet spot now for the bite time. So we've come a long way offshore here to a place we've never been before. We've got limited marks, so we're finding little bommies and fish hanging off them. So yeah, it's a good sign. It's just a little bit slim pickings at the moment. Yeah, so I think I'll just persevere and hang around here. There's enough sign on the sounder to sort of make it interesting, and I think we'll probably strike a bite time again soon, hopefully. Yeah. What do you got? Came off, did it? Came off. What'd you think? Was that jig?
No, it's
Tilted. Oh yes, a nice big parrot. That's a decent size. Tusky. Yeah, they're Red Throat Emperor. There you go.
You know that?
I didn't know you get about here.
I just, well, it's 42, I think.
38.
Alright. I yelled out to Jamie and he said, I think it's 35. And I said, oh, no.
That one's 40, is it?
It's 42.
What's this? It's fighting well. Oh, nice parrot. Like that. So coming out this far offshore, we don't take this lightly. We're very careful about our planning and prep. We actually have, we started with 5 people today, and so 2 of them actually went back. And this is probably a good thing of having such a good group, is that, you know, one of the guys actually got a bit seasick. It's his first time offshore, and after a couple of hours he was feeling a bit sick, and one of the other gentlemen, Greg, he did the right thing and actually took the other gentleman back to shore. So, you know, 40-kilometre trip on your own, you know, and especially if you're sick, probably not a good idea. So, you know, the other thing, of course, is the safety equipment. Now, we carry a lot of safety equipment. Our skis are serviced regularly for a start, so we know they're reliable. Safety equipment we have, obviously, the legislated, you know, the mandated safety equipment that you're supposed to carry legally, which is very minimal actually. It's basically flares, V-sheets, maybe bailing bucket, I think, and of course we're more than 2 nautical miles offshore, so we have to carry either an EPIRB or a PLB, personal locator beacon, which I have a personal locator beacon here. It's got a test circuit. I check it every month, make sure that it's working. It has an expiry on the battery, so you keep on those as well. Like your flares, you know, flares expire, so you need to make sure you've got those. The other things that we do for safety is I use a volunteer marine rescue app called SafeTrex, SafeRx, volunteer marine rescue app, and I can log in before I leave the ramp with a approximate, you know, estimated time of arrival back at the ramp put in. So today I put in to 4 p.m. I'll probably be back before then. And also you can make a mark from where you start, obviously at the ramp, and where you finish will be that same ramp, but you can also make a waypoint mark, and we actually, I made one out here at the Barwon Banks just to you know, give them some idea if it all went pear-shaped. At least they have an idea of where we actually were fishing, and you know, through the currents could work out. Also, of course, VHF radios. Every one of us are carrying either a handheld radio or an installed VHF radio. So mine's 25 watt. I might have touched on this before. The reason I've got a 25 watt is I do tend to go quite a distance on my own, and with the 25 watt radio I can be in contact with, again, volunteer marine rescue throughout, you know, I can pick up Tin Can Bay I'm in the Sunshine Coast today. I can pick up Tin Can Bay, which is 2-3 hours drive north of here, and I can pick up the Gold Coast Seaway and other VMR radio locations around here. A handheld VHF radio offshore is not really adequate. If it's just 2 guys, yes, but you know, you're not going to be able to contact shore. They might have about a 5-kilometre maximum transmission distance, so they're not really ideal, but you know, it's better than nothing. Of course, carry a mobile phone as well, and you do get a signal up to probably about 20 kilometres offshore, so it is helpful. And sometimes you come in signals, the signal goes a little bit, and you might receive text or be able to send a text if things go pear-shaped. Off the shelf, some skis are a little bit unstable, particularly if you put an esky on the back of them, and you know, a high mounted esky with a bit of ice in it does change the centre of balance quite a bit, and they do get a little bit more wobbly. So if you're coming out for the first time, just pay attention to your load distribution. Try to have weight down low. If you're carrying extra fuel, put the weight down low. That sort of touches on another point, fuel. This is the first time we've come this particular location, and it's around about 40 kilometres off the river entrance that we've come out of. And we had a look on a couple of apps to work out the distance that we're travelling. We know roughly our ski consumption on FXH show, and I would allow around about 2 kilometres per litre. So I'm going to consume 20 litres to get out here, which we did. We did a few little detours, and when I arrived, I think I did about 22 litres. That's 40 kilometres line of sight, well, as the crow flies, so to speak. We did a few diversions, and we've been coming up and down, so up and down the coast a little bit to get to a spot here. So yeah, fuel is very, very important. Now, one thing I'd also touch on is that some skis are very difficult to fuel on the water. The FXHO is probably one of them. A friend up the road there is out with us today, Paul. He's got another Paul. He's got a Sea-Doo which has a very similarly placed fuel filler cap, and he said, having to lean over the front and put it in was in this sort of swell. It's going down a bit now, but having to lean over the front, put the fuel in was very tricky, and he said he spilt about 5 litres. So just be really, if you've got to refuel on the water, know what you're doing for a start. Know that you can get to the fuel cap and get it in there. Maybe you need a bigger funnel, or you might need some sort of siphoning system to get it in. In the case of this ski, I think I've touched on this before as well. I have a second fuel tank. It's sitting on top of the standard fuel tank. The standard fuel tank is 70 litres. I think that's 18.5 gallons from memory. The standard skis tank is 70 litres, which sometimes it's very hard to get it right full to the top. But my auxiliary tank is another 27 litres. So I figure that I've filled up both as much as I could. I think I'd have at least 90 litres. So I'm counting on a 90 litre day today, and that gives me a lot of kilometres, around about 180 kilometres I should be able to get. So as I said, plan the trip. Safety. The other thing past safety, to make it safe, is of course the weather. Now we're not going to come out here if it's like 15 knots or more generally. Today the weather report was under 10 knots all day, and yet when we got out here, as I said, it's quite a distance offshore. The wind actually came up to about 10 to 15, and at one stage I reckon we've got the full 15 knots. It was quite uncomfortable, and that's when one of our friends got seasick. So bear that in mind, that just because the weather report in your coastal town is saying XYZ wind knots and swells and etc., it can be stronger offshore. In Australia, I use the METI app. It's from our Bureau of Meteorology. METI, METEYE, and it actually looks at the weather forecast for different times of the day. So you can actually go in at 4 a.m, 7 a.m, 11 a.m, such etc, etc, and you can look at what's happening with the wind. And if it's it not only tells you what the wind is going to change throughout the day, and it's pretty accurate. It's not nothing's ever fully accurate, but it's fairly accurate. But it also shows you where the wind can change at a particular point offshore. So, I saw that it was going to be 10 to 15 knots out here, past, a good 15 kilometres offshore today. So, I was ready for it. So yeah, look, the other thing, you coming offshore for safety, keep an eye on your friends. It's quite easy to drift away from them, and at the moment I'm drifting away from them, and they're a good 500 metres to my north here. Keep an eye on them. You've got your radio, of course, to communicate with them as well. So if anything goes wrong, if something happens to me, I'll get on that radio as soon as I can and try to get in touch. There's another app in Australia called Willy Weather. It sort of takes the Bureau of Meteorology's reports and puts it into a small app you can have on your hand phone, your mobile phone. And it's pretty good, but it doesn't update as much as METI. So it gives you an overview picture of what's going to happen during the day. Don't count on it that exactly at 9 a.m. it's going to do exactly what it says. It's never that accurate. It does update at various times of the day, depending on, I think it's consistently the same time of day every day, but only twice a day, whereas METI is probably every 3 hours. So the other thing I would look at was the swell. Look at the swell direction against the wind. If you've got wind with swell, you're going to have a big current. We've got a 1 knot current today. It's not too bad. If we had a 3 knot current when we went offshore at between Moreton and Stradbroke on that last trip. 3 knots makes it pretty uncomfortable for fishing, but we managed a few fish that day. Just change your techniques, vary the techniques, I guess. The other thing is water, food. I just had my lunch. I was starved. I left home at about 3:30 in the morning this morning, so I didn't eat after. I had a quick breakfast, something light. Got up here and I haven't eaten until just recently. So that's almost it's almost 8 hours now since I had my little breakfast. So you can see why you can get hungry. Carry water. I've got frozen bottles that I use to keep the fish. So if I ever get, just say I broke down and I was floating around here, I'm not going to run out of water. I've got about 4 litres or 5 litres of water there. So I'll be able to go a few days, I reckon, if I ration it. But yeah, water is always a good thing to carry as well. So look, you might think I'm going overboard here, but look, we do these trips, on our own sometimes. People might think we're mad, but we are very well prepared. We know the weather. We don't rely on chance with the weather. We use the apps, and we feel very safe when we're offshore. So hopefully you will too. One of the, as I always say, one of the things that stops people fishing on a ski and catching the good fish is going to the places they want to go to. They want to fish at certain places. The big fish will be in the slightly deeper water. Not always. You can catch some pretty big fish in shallower water depending on the place and the country, I guess. But we find, 30 metres, 50 metres, 80 metres, we're catching some of the bigger fish. And today, my first drop of the day was a nice 90 centimetre amberjack. So that's about a 10 kilogram fish, something like that, maybe 8 kilogram fish. That's really done me for today. I've got my fish that I wanted, but I'm having a bit of fun now trying to catch some other stuff. So that's it for now. Hopefully you've learnt something from that, and hopefully it'll give you a little bit of confidence as well to go offshore on your own or with a group. I'd recommend a group. All in all, not a bad day. I'm losing my voice, I think, after the drenching I got on the way back. Absolutely drenched, as you can see. Very rough coming back. It took us an hour to get back from the Barwon Banks, and looks like I've consumed about 64 litres there and back. If anybody was looking for a guide on how much fuel they need to take, 64 litres gets me there and back on an FXHO fully laden. Happy with the haul, 90 centimetre fish, the amberjack, and the little bonus prize at the end, the tusky. So thanks for watching, everybody, and appreciate you coming back. And if you're not a subscriber and you like what you see, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.